People often ask me, don't you get scared? Forest, mountains, camping, all of this used to feel like a normal routine to me. I've spent a big part of my life like that. But what happened last October after that? I was never the same again. We were 4 people, me, my fiancée Natalie, my friend Tyler, and his cousin Brooke. Everyone was tired, so we didn't make any big plans. Just a short 2-day camping trip, just to relax. Near the Nevada and Arizona border, in an old abandoned mining canyon. On the way, music was playing in the car. Tyler was cracking off-road jokes every other minute. Natalie was sitting in the back, opening snacks and handing them out. Everything felt normal, just like a regular road trip. Before evening, we stopped at an old gas station. The man there was very quiet. He wasn't that old, but his face looked tired, and his eyes felt deep. We picked up a few things, and he just said one thing. If you hear a whistle at night, don't answer it. Tyler laughed out loud and said, "Bro, this sounds like a horror movie starting." We all laughed and ignored it. When we reached the canyon, the place was actually very empty and silent. Old mining structures were scattered everywhere. We set up camp. Tyler and I were setting up the tents. The girls were laughing and joking. We lit a fire, and Brooke cooked pasta and sausages on the camping stove. Everyone was really hungry. Natalie sat next to me, watching the sunset. Cold air was blowing. The sky above the canyon was turning red. Everything felt perfect. Night got deeper. We had music playing, Tyler's favorite playlist. All 4 of us were sitting around the fire, talking, laughing. After a while, we turned the music off because everyone was tired. Suddenly, the canyon became so quiet that even the soft crackling of the fire started to sound loud. But Brooke had gone strangely quiet. She kept looking toward that ridge, like someone was there. I looked in that direction once. There was nothing. We all went back to our tents. Natalie and I were in one tent. Because of the exhaustion, we fell asleep quickly. But a few hours later, I woke up. The wind was completely gone. Total silence. And then I heard it. A whistle. 2 short notes. Then silence. A few seconds later, I just lay there, thinking what it could be. A bird? An animal? Or a person? Natalie moved beside me and held my hand. She whispered, "You heard it too?" Just then, Tyler came out of his tent. In a half-sleepy voice, he shouted, "Who's there?" The whistling stopped immediately. Tyler gave a small laugh and said, "Probably someone messing around." But as soon as he said that, the whistling came again. This time much closer, right next to the camp. And now, it was changing direction. Sometimes from the left, sometimes from the right, like something was circling us. The 3 of us stepped outside. We turned on our flashlights. The darkness was so deep, even the canyon walls were barely visible. There was nothing. Then we heard another sound, something moving over old, rusty metal, like someone walking slowly on a rail track. I took my flashlight and walked toward it. The track was empty, but for a few seconds, it felt like something was standing there. When I focused, there was nothing, just darkness. After a while, Brooke suddenly screamed from her tent. We all ran toward her. She was terrified. She said she saw a shadow right outside her tent, very close. We checked the entire area. Nothing. Just a few footprints on the ground. Normal human size, but the 3rd step was incomplete, like it had sunk into the ground. At that moment, we all felt it wasn't safe to stay there. We packed up quickly, threw everything into the car and left. As we were driving out of the canyon, we heard the whistle one last time. This time, far away, but clear. No one said anything. Everyone just sat in silence. In the morning, when we returned to that same gas station, everything was the same. The same old counter, the same dim light, and the same man. This time, as soon as he saw us, he stood up straight. His eyes locked directly onto mine. For a few seconds, he didn't say anything. Then slowly he asked, "Last night, did you hear anything?" My words got stuck in my throat. I just nodded slightly. He took a deep breath, looked down, then looked back at me. It was a whistle, wasn't it? A chill ran down my spine. I quietly said, "Yeah." Even today, sometimes at night when everything is completely quiet, I feel like I can still hear it. Those same two notes. I don't respond anymore. I just lie there and ignore it. But one question always stays in my mind. If I had answered that night, would I even be here today? I live with my husband on a very isolated desert road in a small adobe-style house. There's nothing around us, just sand, dry shrubs, and miles of emptiness. The nearest town is about a 30 to 40-minute drive away. It was around 3 a.m. Our two large dogs suddenly started barking like crazy. My heart was pounding. My husband grabbed his shotgun, and I picked up my phone to call 911. Before we even had time to put on our shoes, there was a knock on the front porch. Soft, then again. It sounded calm, like someone was just waiting for us to open the door. My husband looked through the peephole. There was a man standing outside, maybe late 20s or early 30s. He looked calm, not nervous, not desperate, just slowly knocking with a faint, strange smile. My husband said, "Sir, the police are on their way. If you need help, you can sit outside and wait. But if there's anyone else with you, just know we are armed." The man smiled slightly. It looked normal, but something felt off. He said quietly, "It's okay. I just came to let you know." Then, after a short pause, "Don't go outside tonight." He turned and walked away, down the driveway toward the road, slowly, like he wasn't in a hurry. Within seconds, he disappeared into the dark. The police arrived and checked everything. The man was gone. It takes time just to reach our driveway from the main road. Beyond that, it's only empty desert and dirt tracks. We still don't understand how he disappeared that fast. After that night, I couldn't sleep properly for weeks. Every small sound would wake me up. I thought it was over. But a few days later, a nearby family told us something strange. A man had come to their house too, late at night. He asked for water, to charge his phone, and to use the bathroom. When they said they were calling the police, another voice came from outside. A man, angry. No cops. The first man kept talking, trying to distract them. But this time, a patrol officer nearby arrived quickly. Later, the police caught them. The man who had been knocking, and two others hiding nearby. There was also an old SUV parked a little away, with a woman sitting inside. The investigation showed they were an organized group. They targeted isolated homes, stealing cash, phones, and valuables. Sometimes they would break in if they got the chance. But one thing still doesn't make sense. If they were all part of the same group, why did that man try to warn us? Some people say he really was warning us, because inside their vehicle, there were things that didn't seem normal. But that was never confirmed. Even now, when the dogs bark at night, I remember that night. And honestly, some things just don't have an explanation. I was driving from California to New Mexico to attend my cousin's wedding, but I had no idea what I would encounter on that deserted road. Something I would never forget for the rest of my life. I was in my old Toyota 4Runner. I've always been a fan of long drives, so instead of highways, I often take those empty back roads where there's barely any traffic. All you see for miles is a straight road, dust, and sometimes a couple of cactus plants. This time too, because of my old habit, I took a random empty shortcut off the highway, a road that stretched straight toward the horizon with no gas stations, no signals, just sand, rocks, and silence for miles. At first, everything was fine. The engine sound was normal, the wind pressure and speed felt perfect. Everything seemed good. But after about 20 to 25 minutes, the car started vibrating strangely. The steering was slightly pulling to the left, and the engine would jerk occasionally, like it was about to shut off. The fuel tank was full, so this felt even more weird. I pulled the car over to the side. I opened the hood. Everything looked normal. No leaks, no smoke, nothing. But still, I felt uneasy. I restarted the car. It turned on, but the engine didn't sound smooth anymore. I immediately pulled out my phone to call someone, but seeing no service on the screen gave me a shock. There wasn't even a single signal bar anywhere. That's when I truly realized I was stuck in the middle of the desert alone. Time kept passing. The sun slowly started going down, and all around me, there was only silence, so deep that I could hear my own breathing. I started feeling uneasy inside, and I was silently praying in my mind. Suddenly, I saw a dust trail in the distance. An old SUV was coming toward me. I felt a wave of relief. I flashed my lights and waved my hands. The vehicle stopped. A middle-aged man stepped out, completely dusty, wearing sunglasses. He didn't ask what happened. He only asked, "Are you alone out here?" His voice was normal, but his tone was strange, like he already knew everything. I explained my situation. He thought for a moment and said, "The nearest town is 3 hours away, and it's not a good idea to stay here at night." Then he paused for a second. "When it gets dark here, things don't stay normal." I had no other option. I got into his SUV. For the first 15 to 20 minutes, everything felt normal. But then suddenly, the atmosphere changed. The driver, who was quiet before, started checking the side mirror every few seconds, like something was behind us. I also looked back. Just empty desert. Nothing. Suddenly, he slowed the car, then stopped it. The engine was running, but he turned it off. The silence became even heavier. Then he said, "Get out and check what's behind." I was confused. "What do you mean?" He didn't even look at me. He just kept staring into the mirror. I stepped out. The air was freezing cold. I looked behind. Just desert, nothing else. And the moment I turned back to tell him, the SUV engine roared. I rushed and grabbed the handle, but the doors were locked. He looked at me for a second, no fear on his face, just a strange smile. Then he drove off and disappeared into the darkness. The night felt impossible to survive. The worst part wasn't the cold or hunger. It was the silence pressing into my ears. I kept feeling like something was right next to me in the dark. Every time I turned, there was nothing. Just empty desert. My mind started playing tricks on me. I stayed there, praying for morning. In the morning, a rescue jeep finally found me. They gave me water immediately when they saw my condition. With shaking hands, I told them everything. The SUV, the driver, the road. The driver listened quietly, took a deep breath, and after a long pause said, "You're lucky your only problem was hunger and thirst, because anyone who stops on this road never comes back the same." I turned back. There was no road behind me, only endless sand dunes, and I still don't understand where that SUV actually took me.